think we're well overdue to upgrade from a few magnets holding up my subscriber count to something much nicer to display my subscriber count. I decided to get started by cutting out the letters on the laser, so I headed over to Xtool Studio to get that process going. And yes, I know it only says subscribe. The RS wouldn't fit on this piece of plywood, so that's coming on another sheet. See, I told you I didn't forget about the RS. I had my letters all cut out on the laser, and I picked a piece of wood that I'm going to plane down. I just spent several minutes working on the spacing for my letters, and I think this spacing right here is going to work best for me. All right, now that I've got my letters cut out, I'm going to get a little stain on them so they stand out a little better when I put them on the sign. I'm going to go with this blue. I did a bunch of test samples here, and I think the blue is going to look the best. I'm just using the piece of wood that I cut the letters out of to kind of hold them in place. All right, the blue is looking pretty good, but I think I'm still going to go over it with a little of this weathered gray just to kind of make it match the colors in my logo a little bit better. While my stain is drying, I decided to go ahead and pull out the planer and start cleaning up this board that's going to be the backer that everything gets mounted to. Then it's over to the miter saw to cut it down to length, which is going to be 24 inches for this particular sign. Now that I'm done with the staining and it has dried, it's time to move on to gluing the letters onto my board. I spent some time using my rulers here to space the letters an even distance from each side. Then, since this was actually two pieces, I had to line it up, so I used a straight edge, and I made sure all my letters were straight all the way across. I've got a good distance from the top here. I did have to kind of fudge this spacing right here. It wasn't looking right when I stepped back and was reading it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these into place. Use Bourbon Moth's patented glue spreader. See how that works for us. If you guys haven't checked out the Bourbon Moth channel, I highly recommend you do so. He's got some really good builds over there. Plus, he's just freaking entertaining to watch. I'm sure this amount of glue is overkill for these little 3mm thick letters. Make sure nothing moved here. Yeah, looks good. Looks like we're still nice and straight. All right, I just tried getting the end piece off and it worked pretty well, so I'm going to continue on. See if I can get the rest of this stencil off of here. Got any more lettering moving. Oh, yeah, looks like we did pretty well. Nice and straight. Alright. I'm going to let that dry and I'm going to clean up the glue.
Once the glue dried, it was time to head over to the drill press. That way I could make the holes for the dowels for all the numbers to hang on.
Now that I've got all the dowels cut, I just need to glue them in. I'm going to take just a small amount of glue, spread it on the base of each of these dowels. And then I've already squirted some into the hole here. Press it down until it bottoms out. A little bit of squeeze out there. Clean that up. Alright, we'll let those dry. And then I should be ready to just hang the numbers on. Then I'll have to just put my trim on. I'm ready to attach my two decorative trim pieces, top and bottom, and I set my overhang using a 7/16 setup block. That way I can make sure it's even side to side. And go ahead and get this attached.
I didn't get the last bit of footage recorded, but basically I just finished adding the trim. I printed the YouTube Play logo and added my logo in the upper right hand corner and added a clear coat. If you made it this far, do please like, subscribe, and comment because it really does help the channel grow, and I would greatly appreciate it.